This session of the FACTS Introductory Workshop will review viewing reports in Rave EDC. We will discuss the Rave Reporter module and then review many of the pre-programmed reports available in Metadata Rave for tracking performance and reviewing data. The key reports that we will discuss are listed here. To conclude, I will demonstrate a second way to access reports directly within Rave EDC, and we will review some resources available to help you with Rave reports. Rave Reporter is a module that allows you to set filtering parameters, run and export reports for your Rave EDC data. It's accessed from the iMetadata home screen. Under Rave Modules, click FACTS. You will access the Reporter module from the Installed Modules menu at the top left of the screen. A My Reports tab is visible, listing all available reports based on your role in Metadata. Click the desired report name. In this example, we will look at the Query Details report. A new tab is now visible. To enter report parameters, click the arrow next to any of the filter categories. For example, we can filter our report by study. Clicking the arrow next to study opens this drop-down menu, where you will use checkboxes to select one or more studies. In this example, we will also filter by site. From the drop-down menu, FACTS Test Site 1 has been selected. Next, you may enter a report name. Click Submit at the top of the page to view the report. The report is generated and displays within the report viewer, which is seen here. Once in the report viewer, there are several options available to you. If the report consists of multiple pages, use the page buttons at the top of the report to click through. You can also change the information being displayed in the report by expanding categories. To drill down deeper into a category, click the category name in the left of the table. In this example, we're looking at a page status report. When the report first opens, it's fully zoomed out to show all data combined. If we click on FACTS Test Site 1 World, we can see data separated out for each participant. I could continue to drill down by further clicking on an individual participant. For example, clicking on PH 4000 allows us to see folders for this one participant. If any of these folders contain subfolders or forms, I could click on them to drill down even more. Reports can be exported using the selection items at the top of the screen. This is a really good idea, as Rave Reporter does time out, and your screen will go blank even while actively using the reports. If you haven't exported your report, you would need to run it again if this occurs. Click the down arrow to see available report formats. Most reports can be exported to PDF or Excel. For reports that include drill down features, you want to make sure Expand All is checked. This will export the details for all available levels. Then you'll be able to drill down or sequentially select to a more detailed level within the report itself. Next, click Export, and the file will be available in your computer downloads. For most Rave reports, there's an option to save and an option to submit. The Save button at the bottom of the screen allows you to save a report to run later with the same parameters. The saved report will appear in the list of available reports with the name you selected, and it cannot be opened or run within the parent report. The Submit button will run the report, and you'll scroll up to the top to click Submit. Here we see the locations of the Save and Submit buttons. Again, you do need to scroll back to the top of the screen to submit or run the report after you've set your report parameters. Next, we'll review many of the pre-programmed reports available in Metadata Rave for tracking performance and reviewing data. The key reports that we'll discuss include the Page Status 2.0 report, which provides similar information as the Rave interface and the task summary, things like non-conformant data, open queries, and overdue data. The query summary provides the number of queries in each marking group as well as their status. The query detail report retrieves all queries that a site has received with the full text of the query and response. The sticky notes report will retrieve all sticky notes that a site has received, and it includes the full text of the note and the date the note was received. The enrollment report shows the number of participants enrolled over time. The subject PDF will download a PDF file containing all of the ECRFs for a participant. And the audit trail report will retrieve the audit trail or modification history for the selected study. We'll start by looking at the Page Status version 2.0 report. This report provides a summary of the current statuses of ECRFs for the selected site. This is similar to the basic information available in the Rave EDC task summary. Counts and statuses are given for the various task types. This report allows users to drill down so you can see task counts for the whole site, or you can focus in on a single participant, visit folder, or even a single form. This slide shows how you would filter the report. You can click on the arrow beside each category to expand it and show all the options. As you make selections in the categories at the top, the selection options are dynamically updated in the lower categories. Here we see the Page Status 2.0 report in the report viewer. Headings on the left side of the table indicate that we're looking at a single site in this report, the FACS Test Site 1. It is possible to run this report for multiple sites, in which case other names would be listed at the top of the screen. The bottom row, labeled Hope Dev, provides a total for each column. Across the top of the table, we see the first several columns relating to form completion. Expected totals tells us the total number of CRF pages that have been rolled out at the site. Expected to date provides the number of CRF pages that should be completed at the time the report is run. If an end window date has been set for a folder, this total will only include pages where the end window for the folder has passed. Next, we can see the number of pages on which data have been entered, followed by the number of pages for which data are overdue. The next few columns dealing with data review will not be used by FACS and HOPE studies. Verified, reviewed, entry locked, and locked may be disregarded as they do not apply to FACS site users. In the next section of the table, we see information about queries. Open queries gives the number of pages with one or more open queries, and answered queries tells us the number of CRFs with queries that have been answered but have not yet been closed. Note that closed queries are not counted in this report. Finally, we see a section in the table for pages requiring action. Again, these columns may be disregarded by site users. The verify, translate, sign, entry lock, and lock columns will not be used at all by FACS. Data managers and medical coders may use the review and coding columns in the process of data review. This slide demonstrates how you can drill down to change the scope of the visible data. Clicking on the site name allows us to see task counts for each participant at the site. Clicking on a participant ID, for example, participant 11111, allows us to see task counts for each visit folder for this participant. If you wanted, you could click on a visit folder to see task counts for each ECRF inside. The query summary report provides a number of opened, answered, closed, canceled, and total queries a site has received. You're able to break down the totals by marking group. As you can see in the Report Parameters pane, you're able to filter the report by study, site, marking group, and start and end dates. Here we see the query summary report. The left-hand column in this table shows the site that the report was generated for, Facts Test Site 1. Under this heading, the table lists the marking groups that will be included in this report. Marking group specifies the writer of the query and to whom it was directed. We can see two different marking groups here: queries that were issued to a data manager or DM from the Rave EDC system, and queries issued to the site from the system. Depending on your study setup, there may be other categories here as well. Note that the top row shows the total number of both types of queries. Finally, we see a horizontal line followed by the study name. This row will show data totals for all sites included in the report. Looking across the top of the table, we see that for each marking group, this report provides the number of open queries, answered queries, closed queries, canceled queries, and total queries. In the example seen here, the site has 903 open queries. 9 of these are addressed to a data manager. The rest are system-generated queries addressed to the site. You may also find it useful to view the query details report. This report is longer than the summary report, and it will give information about each individual query, including the full text of the query and the response. Additionally, the query status and date are displayed for each record in this report, and as we'll see on the next slide, you're able to filter this by study, participant, visit, ECRF, field, marking group, query status, and date. So this report allows users to filter by the parameters listed here. The term marking groups refers to the person or system that's sending and receiving a query. So for example, site from system is an automatic data check programmed to be sent from Rave to the site. Site from DM is a query sent from a data manager to the site. Another useful option is to sort by query status. And here you can choose to view only the queries that are still open for your site. The first several columns on the query details report provide information about the location of the query. For each query, we can see the participant ID and the folder and form and the field containing the query. If the form is a log form, we can see the log line containing the query as well. Next, information is provided about the query itself. The query status column will mark each query as open, closed, or canceled. The date that the query was opened is seen next, followed by the text of the query. Marking group will indicate again to whom the query is directed and from whom it originated. And in the rightmost set of columns is information about any responses that have been made to the query. These include the response date, text, and the ID of the person who responded. Finally, for queries that have been resolved, we can see when they were resolved and by whom. The 360 Query Management Report combines the other 3 query-focused reports into one and offers visualization tools. You can view query counts by status, and this is essentially the query summary report, query aging, and query details. It also shows query cycle times, which gives the time from when an ECRF was first entered to when there was a query event. You're able to customize and filter the report display, and many filters exist within the report itself. As you can see here, the report can be filtered by study or site, and we have the option to include ECRF entry-related cycle times. To explain a bit about these are calculated from the ECRF first entry date to the date when a query was either opened or closed. This is a new parameter not seen in the other query reports. This is an example of the visuals available in the report. There are tabs across the top of the screen that offer the different options for the report, such as query aging or query details. The screen selected now is the query counts by status. You can also view queries differently using the drop-down box in the upper left. So you could look at queries by form, as is shown here, or you could look at them by site, query type, or visit folder. On the right-hand side, there are more filters, which allow you to drill down further after this report has been run. For example, under Subject, you could select a single participant and view only the query data related to that participant. On the graph, there are scroll bars, so you can scroll through larger data sets that don't all fit on the screen. Next, we'll look at the audit trail report, which receives the audit trail or modification history for the selected study. You get a step-by-step record of all activities within each data field, including data entry and data changes, and any queries being opened, closed, or canceled, etc. The report can be filtered by a large number of categories listed here, and it's highly suggested that you filter down the report as much as possible before running it, because audit trails can be very long, so it's best to make the report as specific as possible. This shows you all the options for filtering the report before submitting it, and you can select from each of these categories as needed. Again, it's suggested that you filter as much as possible. Here's an example of an audit trail report. Again, these reports can be very long. In this example, the report is over 3,000 pages. Information provided for each record includes site and site group. The next several columns provide the location of the data field. We see the participant ID, then folder, and form containing the data field. If there's a page repeat number, it will be listed next, followed by the field name, and the log number will be provided for data found in log forms. Next, we see information about the actual data field change, including the action that was performed, the user performing the action, and the user's role. The audit action type may tell us that data was entered non-conformant, entered empty, entered with a change code, and it may also list information about queries being opened, closed, or answered, or a variety of other actions. Every time a field is updated on an ECRF, a new line appears on the audit trail to track all changes as they occur. Note that a single field on a form may have several entries in this report table. For example, a record is made when the site user first enters a data value. Additional records will result if a query is issued and when the data are corrected. The Sticky Notes report retrieves all sticky notes that have been placed on the ECRFs at your site. Recall that sticky notes will be added to the ECRFs by the system, and they will contain procedural reminders and updates. An example of a sticky note can be seen here, and once a site user has read the note and completed the task, clicking the Acknowledge button will change the status of the note from placed to acknowledged. Just a reminder that the task requested in the sticky note should always be performed before acknowledging the note. Here we see options for filtering the report, including the date received and sticky status. Again, you have two options for sticky status. You can look at the sticky notes that have been placed and/or acknowledged. For each sticky note, this report gives the following information regarding the ECRF containing the note. First, we see the site and site group. Next is a description of the location of the note. Following this, information can be viewed for the sticky note itself. We can see the date that the note was received. Marking group tells us broadly whether the note was issued by the system or by another user. And next we see specifically by whom the note was issued, as well as the role of that user. If the sticky note was acknowledged, we can view the name of the user who acknowledged the note. And next, the text of the sticky note is displayed. Finally, the status of the sticky note will read either placed or acknowledged. The enrollment report shows the number of participants enrolled and/or screening at a site. This report includes a table of current totals, as well as a graph showing enrollment over time. No identifiers are given on this report, only counts. As you can see here, the report can be filtered by study, site, and date range. The calendar icon next to the start date and end date fields allow you to select a date range for your report. The first page of the report, seen here, displays a table with site information, followed by participant status. Statuses include enrolled and screening. The final column, labeled Subjects, provides the number of participants of each status, as well as the total number of participants counted in the table. In the example seen here, the site has enrolled 32 participants and screened 6, for a total of 38. To view a graph of enrollment over time, click the Page button to advance to page 2 of this report. The enrollment graph seen here provides a visual representation of enrollment month by month. The vertical axis displays the total number of participants at a given time, and the horizontal axis is marked in 1-month increments, with the current month at the right of the screen. The Subject PDF report allows users to access PDF files of all of the ECRFs for a participant. This will include all of the ECRFs that have been rolled out for a participant, including incomplete ECRFs and those with queries. However, only the entered data are shown. The queries would not be shown on the PDFs. For this report, filtering is required, unlike all the other reports. You must select the study, site, and participant. You can select only one option for each. You can also select a data page. A data page is a string that includes a visit folder and the included ECRFs, such as the screening visit. You cannot select multiple data pages. And like the audit trail, these reports can be very long. Upon opening, you're able to see all ECRFs that have rolled out for a participant. Data that have been keyed can be seen on the ECRFs. You may find it helpful to use the bookmark bar at the left of the screen to navigate through this document. To print this report, use the print commands within your PDF reader. Next, I'd like to briefly show you a second way to access the reports we've seen in this presentation. If you do not need to apply filters to your report, it may be easier to access reports directly within Rave EDC. To access site reports, open the Rave EDC application. If you have access to multiple studies, select the study for which you wish to view reports. This will bring you to a list of participants at your site. Here we see the list of participants at the site, as well as the enrollment status for each. From this page, you would click the link at the top right of the page, which says View Site Reports. The menu that pops up displays a list of available site reports. Use the scroll bar at the right of the window to view all available reports, and then click on the report you wish to view. Note that reports will open in the same report viewer as we saw in the Rave Reporter module. The only difference here is that you don't see the filtering options. The report just opens as is. In order to access subject reports or reports containing data for a single participant, you must first navigate to the subject page for the desired participant. So click on the participant of interest to navigate to their subject page, and at the top of the subject page, click View Subject Reports. The report menu will open, and again you can scroll through to view all the available reports. Note that several of the report titles are the same as those listed under Site Reports. In this case, all of the same information will be provided, but for a single participant only. Lastly, we'll take a look at a few report resources that may be helpful to you. To begin, each report page in Rave EDC has an accompanying help document. This may be helpful if you find yourself needing additional information about a particular report. To access, open the report, and at the top of the screen, click the link that says View Report Help. Depending on your browser, a PDF will either download to your computer or open in a new tab. Scrolling down, you'll come to a report description section that may be particularly helpful. This gives a description of each column and may help clarify the information displayed in the report tables. E-learnings within iMedidata may also be helpful. To access, click on e-learning in the tasks pane at the right of the screen. All e-learnings are available to you, so even if you've not been assigned to the e-learnings relating to EDC reports, you're still able to view them. The most relevant e-learnings for this topic include Rave Reporter. Medidata Rave 360 reports, and Foundations of J-Review. Additional resources can be found in the FACS Virtual Learning Room. You'll access this from the Frontier Science portal, and this is the home screen. For more about Rave reports, you'll click on Rave Resources. This video tutorial may be helpful for you. This concludes the Viewing Reports in Rave EDC session. Additional videos and reference guides are available in the FACS Virtual Learning Room, which may be accessed at www.frontierscience.org/portal. Additionally, you can contact FACS data managers by email at the address shown here.